Hello, everybody. Today I'm here with the next Disney Heroes Battle Mode hero concept, and today I've created the villain Lady Tremaine from Disney's Cinderella. So let's take a closer look at her, and I'll explain her design and a few things about her. So, I tried to find maybe the most iconic look of her, which is her in this kind of red maroon dress, and then just a little bit of her staff in her hand because, trying to come up with some sort of weapon for her, it feels kind of necessary to give her that. And then I kind of reverted back instead of doing some gradients and stuff from my previous designs. Instead, I tried to do more of the 2D style that I started with and just do a bit more detailing, especially in the hair. And I think it works better to do this for specifically like 2D animated stuff because from the original movie it was pretty flat. There isn't a lot of shading or anything. So just adding a bit of shading and lighting I think ends up looking okay. But for like Pixar movies I think it's kind of necessary to do a bit more detail in that way, if that makes sense. And then with the hair, she has some pretty iconic like detailing in her hair. And I added a bit more than that, which I'm not sure I should have done. Maybe I should have just left it the way that it typically is, because now it's starting to look less like her, I think, just because of that. But I got the iconic detailing there, I just added more, and I don't know how to feel about that. But I really like how she turned out. It's really hard to come up with a moveset for her, and I chose her over Cinderella not only because people actually asked to see her, but also because you don't get many chances to do like female villains, and I thought it was really cool to actually do Lady Tremaine. But yeah, people were actually just asking for Lady Tremaine specifically, and I'm gonna actually find those in a second here, and I might shout that out at the end of the video. So let's go to the skills for right now. So first up, I think kind of in the same way that I did with the Horn King, she herself does not really do all that much, so she would probably have to enlist the help of the ugly stepsisters in some way. This scene where they're ripping apart Cinderella's dress I think works pretty perfectly because they could run up to an enemy and scratch at them real quick. Obviously it's not going to rip their clothes or anything, but it would be as if they're attacking the character. They just run up, scratch a character, run out, I think would be a pretty perfect skill for Lady Tremaine to have. She kind of just points her staff forward at the enemy and the sisters run out after them. Again, enlisting someone's help. I think Lucifer the cat would be pretty perfect to be part of our moveset too. He's pretty evil. He's another antagonist of the movie, and I don't know what he would do specifically because he's always hunting the mice. So attacking an actual just like regular person, I guess it would be pretty similar to what the ugly stepsisters do, where they just run up and scratch somebody. He does the same thing, I guess, but they could have him do something else. Maybe it affects a stun, or it affects, it gives them like defense down or something. I don't know, but they could do different things for them still, even if they virtually do the same thing. I found this very long scene of Lady Tremaine just being very menacing. She keeps telling Cinderella these chores that she needs to do, keeps giving her like a stern glare. So maybe like she, as a skill, she would glare at the enemies and give them some sort of like attack down or something. It weakens them whenever she gives them that intense glare. I honestly think that would be a move that they would create for her because that is just a very iconic part of her identity in general. And then the final one I thought of was the actual, like, the only thing I could find that is her actually attacking something in any way is when she holds out her cane and trips the guy with the glass slipper. Now I thought of a few different ways this could work. One way is she just attacks with her cane, and they kind of take some artistic liberties there and just have her whacking people with the cane, but that's a bit more confrontational than she usually is. So another idea is just having the guy run on the stage, she trips him, he drops a glass slipper on the enemies and deals damage that way. Which again, there's a lot of extra characters they would have to create for her moveset, which I don't know how likely that would even end up being. But it doesn't feel accurate to have her actually hitting people with her cane because she never was physically abusive, if that makes sense. It was much more emotional, and you know, in that way, it makes her character much more menacing. So that's why I think it would kind of ruin her character to actually attack them. But anyways, for her friendships, I think an easy one would be the Evil Queen. They're pretty similar. But really any female villain I would love to see her interact with, like Ursula, or something like that, you know. And then I was trying to think of like a princess maybe she can interact with, but I ended up thinking it would be really cool to see her actually interact with the fairy godmother herself. I'm guessing they probably interacted in one of the sequels, but I didn't do any research on that because I don't think they would pull anything from the sequels. Although it did appear as though she does a lot more like actual attacking in the sequels, which again I think ruins the character in a way. But I found a scene where she like had a wand and she was like about to cast a spell or something, which is just way more than she ever did in the original. But I would love to see her interact with the fairy godmother because I don't think I've ever seen it. Again, it could have happened in one of the sequels, but if that is the case, then whatever. But I'd also love her to just be really rude to the fairy godmother, and the fairy godmother opposing her with her very cheerful attitude. Sorry. But if you have any other ideas for skills or friendships, I'd love to hear them because it was kind of hard to come up with them for her. So again, it was really fun to actually create Lady Tremaine. Some characters are really detailed and it's really frustrating to do, but her kind of likeness was really easy to recreate. There weren't too many details that I found frustrating, and I actually found it quite fun to just color in some of the very bold colors that she has. And I think she is just a really interesting character because again, she's not a physical confrontational character, which doesn't really work for a fighting game, but as a character in the Disney, universe, it is really cool to have a character that is much more menacing just because she is more verbally and mentally abusive. I guess not cool, but you know what I mean. It's a very interesting way to show a character because that is a very real thing, I guess. So the people that suggested it, I know Patrick suggested it. I kind of want to try to say your last name again because I haven't tried it in a while, and I forget how you recommended I pronounce it, but I think it's Baylarjan, something like that. I apologize, but I thought it'd be fun to try it again. Dang it, this one's hard too. Gianluca Colangelo, or maybe Gianluca. I feel like Gianluca is accurate, but I apologize to you as well. But I think that's, I think that might be the first time it was suggested. And, oh, I would also like to read some of your movesets. I didn't realize that you gave some ideas. So yeah, you also suggested using Lucifer, Domain of the Stepmother. When enemies nearby, Lady Tremaine will use her cane to make the foe trip. Yeah, that was another one that I had. Okay. Okay, so this one, some of them have the idea that also the ugly stepsisters are their own characters, which I try not to do, but that is much easier to make ideas for. And then the white scale, never go back in my words. Passive. Lady Tremaine doesn't have a basic, instead she summons, okay, so never mind. She summons Anastasia and Drizella, which are the ugly stepsisters, which does make sense, where they would actually just have their own health bars. I suppose that is a good idea. And then if Lady Tremaine dies, then they both die too, which would definitely make sense. They could not survive without her, basically. Yeah, this is very in-depth. Thank you for all of this. I should have read it before doing the video, but you have some really good ideas, probably better than mine. I really do appreciate it. I remember now that I'm seeing it, but it was over a month ago, so I do apologize for that, but thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, so I think that those were the only two. But thank you guys both for the suggestions. I keep suggesting characters you want to see. I still haven't actually released any of the videos. I'm just working ahead on getting these out, so I can take a bit of a break myself. But thank you guys for watching. Keep suggesting characters, and I will continue to make them. Goodbye.